Hello, everyone. It's me, it's your boy, James. If I could hear some call me. Hi.
It's your
Welcome to Two
boy.
Broken Thumbs. It's your boy.
I have been
We're
fucking.
I'm here with the co-host with the most, Cole. Cole of Cole's Corner. He's come out of it today to
I
talk about
have.
movies with us. Yeah, it's delightful.
James, do
Um,
you know what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is the 5th
That
of
is
August.
true. Do you know why the 5th of August is important to this channel?
It's my girlfriend's birthday.
Congrats. I hope you two have fun tomorrow, but that's
Me
not what
too.
I was referring to.
She's she lives far away, so if we do it, we'll be separately.
Aw. I thought you
Why?
meant.
What's significant about the 5th of August
I thought you
and
were
the
about to
channel?
say she's hot. Just make that a public statement. just
Some things don't need
announce
to be said.
just announce your No, tomorrow is my 9-year anniversary of doing YouTube, James.
Wow,
Yeah,
nine
a
years.
whole nine
That
years.
that's a long time.
I know, right? And I
Yeah.
always think to myself, James, what if I never did YouTube, right?
Uh-huh.
What if I never did it? Like, could I possibly peer into another reality, per se, where I never touched YouTube ever? Could you
Uh-huh.
imagine, like, a movie with that sort of concept to it? Could
That
you?
would be
That
wild.
would be crazy. That would be a
Yeah.
movie about multiple. And it would be even crazier is if that movie came out around the same time another movie with a very similar premise came out.
I
Right? Wouldn't that be
that would be
crazy?
wild.
That would be kind of
Yeah.
crazy. They got
That's the that's the fun thing about our timeline, you know. Sometimes there's little anomalies, you know, little weird things
What do
that
you mean?
happen.
What do you mean?
Well,
Did that
uh,
happen?
I maybe.
Oh well, I mean, I don't know much about it, but if you do,
Oh, I mean, should we discuss the idea of like multiverses or like,
yeah,
because honestly, this one seems okay, right? Like we're alive and most of us are pretty well. There's a pandemic which kind of sucks, but like in the grand scheme of things, there's worse things. What is unfortunate about this reality though is this is the one where to get Palpatine's speech in The Rise of Skywalker, you had to play Fortnite to see it. So that's where I think we went wrong.
I always forget that fucking happens.
Yeah. So
It's every time I hear the line Palpatine's speech in Fortnite, it feels like someone has just like taken a dagger that I forgot was in my chest and twisted it. Going like, "Hey, remember when that happened?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to."
no. It's
Stop
like you've
reminding
unlocked a
me.
core memory and it's a terrible
Exactly.
one at
I
that.
never even watched it, but I still remember thinking at the time, like, "Oh, so this movie's gonna suck."
We already know.
I think Randy Feltface said it best, where he was like, "Hey, welcome to Earth. We have billions upon billions of people who have no clean water, but over here we have guys who get paid thousands of dollars to beat the shit out of each other. So still working
Yeah.
out the kinks."
It's nothing's perfect.
Well, I would argue that this movie is.
You would argue this movie is.
Yeah. Oh, the hypothetical movie, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was
Purely
hoping
hypothetical.
I was hoping you'd help me with the bit and say that in this universe there that did happen, and then we would go from
It
there.
did.
But you didn't really assist me on
I
the
wanted
bit.
to diverge.
That's fair. You want to diverge and like see into another core memory, right?
Exactly. We do
Fine.
tangents here.
We do a lot of tangents here, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
Our last episode was, I think, our least tangenty because we were just like, let's get through this as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think I had somewhere to be.
Well, that's
But
fair.
alas, we there were two movies with multiversal premises that came out recently. It's probably been like at least a month now, maybe
Mm-hmm.
two. But anyway, we would all know one as the latest of the Marvel installments, as far as I know, is a Doctor Strange movie. Um,
I think that's the newest one currently.
I think so too, but
Yeah.
that
No,
statement will
Thor: Love
expire.
and Thunder was the newest one.
Oh crap, Thor came out. I even saw that one.
Everyone forgot about Thor coming out.
That's good.
Yeah.
But alas, and then so that one, I didn't like it very much. I didn't think a ton of care was put into it. The multiverse, of course, and Thor. Why not both?
Yeah. Let's just throw both
So
those in there. Small reviews for James.
yeah. Not a fan. Mm.
Yeah.
But
Fair.
the good news is that something else came out. A little diamond in the rough, as it were. A hidden gem amongst the sludge, as it could be called. And I wasn't sure about this one because like I had heard about it and heard it was a multiverse movie, and I was like, oh, okay, I need more of that. Then I started hearing people say that it was pretty good, and I was like, oh, I'm not super interested, but okay. And then at some point, girlfriend wanted to watch it, so I was like, okay, well, we'll watch it together. Maybe it's good, and I like it a lot. I came
Yeah.
away very happy.
I would absolutely agree. We should also probably mention the movie's name.
No,
Okay. Um. Overall, I think this movie is just well.
we're discussing everything everywhere all at once, friends.
Yeah. I just didn't realize there is no apostrophe anywhere. It's just all at like you have to say it in one sentence. It can't just be everything everywhere all at once. It's everything everywhere
Oh,
all at once.
no
That's
commas, I gotcha.
yeah, no comments.
Everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah, you
Gotta
have
say
to
it
say
fast.
quickly. Yeah, exactly. You
hmm
get it. You get it.
It
And
it puts me in the right mindset for it.
and yeah, like unironically, it's a fantastic film. Um,
hmm
the we can like start by talking about like I guess a little bit of pre-production stuff. Um, I'm looking into it, and apparently there's only 9 people who did any of the visual effects in total,
Yeah,
and they all
yeah,
were self-taught.
that's wild
Yeah,
because this movie looks pretty good.
it
Kind
looks
of really
fantastic
good.
for like people like self-taught. Um,
Yeah, I think the only time I can think of where it was like noticeable was when our protag and our antagonist were fighting, and it was just bouncing between worlds. Well, really was just them fighting, and the background kept changing.
mm,
That looked pretty green screened, but everything else was like really good,
yeah,
like real convincing.
the lights and coloring and everything. I think that was all practical, but it's all well done, super well do too.
Oh yeah, the the monkeys were all practical.
Yeah, well, we should probably talk about all that, um, like walk through the story as best we can.
Yeah, so this story's dense.
There's a lot that happens, and I don't know if you
I guess.
folks know, I'm a bit of an idiot. I'm a bit of a fucking moron. Like,
Oh.
I like visuals and everything, but if you try to explain to me, like try to sell me on a movie through its plot and everything, I'm very much just like, you lost me. You lost me as soon as you mentioned there's like more than 3 characters in this movie. That's when I'm out. So I was going to have James take the lead on going through the synopsis of the movie.
Yeah,
And I would
we'll
ask questions. Yeah, I'll ask questions between.
I guess we'll try to make this one go kind of quick because I don't want to. I feel like if I try to like really go through the plot like hard, we're gonna end up just going like scene by scene, and it's gonna be like a multi-hour adventure. So we'll try to keep it a little condensed if we
Mm-hmm.
can.
We'll probably skip some like
But
fight scene stuff and everything.
yeah. Oh, just like quick commentary on anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, what we're looking at is it's starts we got a family essentially. Um very I guess we talked about a very lived-in house. We have a mother, a mother and a wife. Um, she's very right away you get the feeling she's very busy. Like you got a lot of stuff to do. They need to be in multiple places at once, and she's just just, like trying to get through it. And we all know what that's like. Like you're trying to pack up to go somewhere, or you got multiple things to do, and like you don't really have enough time to get all your stuff done. So like you become less I guess you could say like friendly and understanding, and a lot more like just like set into work mode essentially. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what this is. Husband's trying to talk to her about something, and she's not very receptive at all. She says, "Go ahead, talk, I'm listening," but it's like, hearing, not listening is really
Right.
what's going on here.
Especially
She's
with what he
managing a
has to
bunch of
talk
these.
about too.
Yeah, which he's carrying around some papers, and at one point she like grabs them from him, and then he like just grabs them back right away.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've got going on is she's collecting up just a table full of receipts for her tax audit. She this place that they're living is like an apartment. It's above a laundromat, and that's the laundromat that they own. It's the family business. So as we're going through, um, she's trying to get a spot on the ceiling painted because it's discolored, and they've got a new Chinese New Year party going on as well today in the evening that they're preparing for. So they gotta like paint a spot. They gotta help all the customers that are coming in. She's trying to make breakfast or lunch for the family. Everything's happening all at once.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that when
um,
like thinking about the opening of the fucking film is literally like everything is happening, and her daughter came by with her partner too. So like, that's another layer of more shit that's happening. So it feels like to her everything is happening all at once.
exactly.
Mm.
So I
And
guess
did you mention the
intro
dad too?
oh, that's right. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
her
So
dad's coming too.
her father, the grandpa, I guess his name is Gong Gong. He's here, and he's uh yeah, old, very traditional, quite harsh. He's like asleep or just waking up at this time, and that's part of why she's all rushed to make breakfast, and I think they're cooking noodles, and she's like super specific on the instructions because Gong Gong hates when noodles are overcooked, so you get the sense right away she's very much trying to please him or impress him,
Mm-hmm.
and that'll be relevant later. The daughter is her opening scene is her staring into a washing machine, and it's like full of black clothes, which that opening rewards itself on a rewatch.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And as she's staring, her girlfriend comes into frame. Her girlfriend is named Becky, and she kisses her on the cheek a bit.
A
She
couple dozen
is
times actually. Come on, let's not.
just wails on her,
Yeah.
absolutely. Interesting things about her that I noticed right away. She's wearing like a button-down shirt with a collar, and there's a comment about it. The daughter's name is Joy. Joy says that she likes how she looks. Becky says, "Oh yeah, you like this Mormon look I got going."
Mm-hmm.
And as they're talking, Joy is buttoning up her sleeve to like cover her arm because she's got tattoos. I think that's all very deliberate. She probably doesn't dress. She doesn't dress like this normally, and she's got tattoos and piercings, but we're trying to cover those up. Good impressions.
Mm-hmm. Trying to be at least
Oh,
look nice. Yeah.
exactly. And so mom comes downstairs, sees the two of them. Instead of, "Hi Becky, how's it going?" It's, "I only cooked for 3 people. Now I got to cook more food."
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Becky is like a problem to be solved. And I don't think that she dislikes her or anything. We can talk about that more because I think you might be interested.
Oh.
But you know, like I said, she's still in that work mode.
Mm.
Well, just a part of the overall arc.
No, I get you.
Let's see. Yeah. And then we get the immediate I guess you could say clash, or not clash, but like the difference between the mom and the dad. The mom is named Evelyn, and the dad is named Wayland. Uh, Becky says, "Hello, Evelyn. Sorry, Mrs. Wong." And then they go after that. They go upstairs. And the dad, Wayland, is immediately just, "Oh, hi, Becky. So glad to see you. Don't call me Mr. Wong. Call me Wayland." Yeah,
Mm.
super nice and bubbly.
He's a very like, just to give you an idea, like Wayland is always chipper in this like opening scene. Like I can't think of a single time besides like the big news, which we'll get to here in a second. He's very much just like, oh yeah, I did. Like even the painting thing, he's like, oh yeah, I did that. Don't worry, I did that. I did that for you. Don't worry about it. He's doing his best to make sure that everyone is appeased as best he can. I think there's even a customer who comes by and he's trying to like do things for the customer. He like I think he dances with the there's like a customer that comes by who's just like, oh, my wife used to wear that perfume. Um, but even still, like when he's not talking to people, it's made very clear that he's a very goofy fellow with the fact that he puts googly eyes on everything. Um, which
Yes,
which must be
he's
like a very cute, very fun thing.
mhm.
Mm.
He makes a comment. A lady comes in looking for some clothes, and
Oh yeah, the clothes.
she
Yeah, he was just like, oh yeah, I put that upstairs because I thought the clothes would be happier there.
exactly. And
Which,
then when we get upstairs, they've got the googly eyes on the
mm,
like the laundry bag, as it were.
which I think is very like just very like silly. Like even clothes he treats nicely. I'm just like, bruh, it's
Oh yeah,
someone's shirt. Calm down.
yeah. And you'll see. He is very, yeah, he's just a great guy pretty much all the time. Just very positive, very helpful. Always trying to lighten the mood or even just keep things light.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, worth noting at this time, Joy is trying to also talk to Evelyn, and she's trying to. We don't totally get what she's trying to do, but it seems like she wants to make sure that Becky gets introduced to Gongon, and like it's clear what's going on there. Because again, Gongon being older and a bit more traditional, probably not super accepting of the gayness, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
She tries to
and
hide it with being like, "Oh no, your grandpa just won't get," which it's possibly true, but even still, like, some point he has to know.
right. And there's even mention of that in a sec. Um, let's see. I'm trying to make sure we get like all the good setup bits because then the rest will go by nice and easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at one point, uh, Joy and Evelyn are upstairs. Joy's still trying to explain, and Evelyn keeps kind of like changing the subject and like talking about what she's doing and what else she needs to do. We see in the background on the cameras they have of the laundromat, uh, Wayman does something weird. He like action movie gets up, jumps over some laundry machines, slides across one of them, goes into the office, grabs something, then comes back in sort of the same fashion, and then seems to like stop, kind of reset himself, and then he goes and starts dancing with the older guy,
Mm-hmm.
who the perfume guy. He seems to come in a lot because he says like the machine ate his dollar again, and
He seems to be a repeat customer who
seems
has a thing for Evelyn, but it's not very like
yeah.
clear. It's like implied, I think.
There's not a lot of attention put on him. There's other
Mm-hmm.
things I'll focus on a lot more, but
Yeah, he's just some.
it definitely seems like he's very comfortable here. Probably comes by a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, Waylon treats him nicely, so it's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
As he does with everybody.
oh yeah. Yes, as we should point out, yeah, Wayland is doing like a little dance with him. It's matching a dance that they're doing in, well, I guess it's like an opera or a show of some type, on like the TV that they just have running in the laundromat. And Wayland says, something about how he could be an actor because of the dancing, and he mentions that Evelyn used to want to be an actress. And then Evelyn stares at the show for a little bit, them singing and dancing around. And
I
that'll be relevant later,
I
of
also,
course.
yeah, I want to point out at this moment, I think the music has kind of been a little chaotic up to this point. Like, usually when music in movies, like let me slide in and get my expertise here.
Absolutely.
Usually in music in films, they want to set a tone when you first start the film to get someone like in the mood. Like, I hate to go back to the example, but it's like a very good example. Joker, when he's doing the dancing and the singing, and then it cuts to that like really dark, ominous strains as he getting his shit kicked in. Like, that's to set the tone. Like, every time that something good is happening to this character, something will happen that ruins it. He is not allowed to fully be happy. In this film, the only moment we get a sense of like consistency in the music is when Evelyn is staring at those people in the movie. When she's watching the singing and the dancing and the love between the two characters. Like, there's, I think, I can't remember because I don't have the film up right now, but there is a, like, the music has like a angelic chorus almost. Like, it's a good, happy moment for her before everything just hits back. Am
Yep.
I am I correct
Uh,
with that? Did you just play it back?
yeah, yeah, totally correct. She like hones in and like all the background noise fades away, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think angelic is the best word to use there.
Mm-hmm.
Just a nice and light and flowy sort of
And
feel.
then it
And she
gets.
just kind of stares at it and smiles, and then everything, yeah, fades or kind of abruptly fades back in. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, back to it.
Yeah, you can only be happy for a moment, and then you have to go back to what you were doing.
Exactly. And at this moment, also, she overhears Joy and Becky talking, and Joy's ranting. She's all upset.
All right.
And I'm sorry.
No, no, I said right. Sorry, yawn too.
Oh, yeah, all good. And that's what we talked about a second ago, where she is like upset and she says either we tell Gong Gong that we're dating, and he freaks out and dies, or we don't tell him and then he'll just die soon anyway. So what difference does it really make? And Evelyn's pissed. She's like,
She's like,
"What
what
are
the
you
fuck?
saying?"
What the fuck?
Hmm.
You'll be
Yeah,
here
Joy
any
says
second.
yeah, Joyce says it was a joke, and then Waylon's on the other side of the room, and he's like, that's not a very funny joke, honey.
Basically, yeah. It's a very like, and this is while everyone's still running around with their heads cut off. By the way, like I think they forgot about the one girl's clothing, and like she's starting to get like very upset.
Yeah, she's like pacing around in the background. I
Mm-hmm.
think Waylon's bringing it over to her at this point, but
Right, right. But there's a
yeah,
lot going
yeah.
on in this opening
Oh
scene,
yeah.
and I will admit, like when you first watch it, you're like, "Oh, okay, we're being thrown right in."
And
But it's
anyone
still
who's ever
good.
just anyone who's ever like tried organizing a family because you're all going out somewhere and you got somewhere to be, or if
Mm-hmm.
you've ever worked like fast food especially, like I imagine this is this feeling all too well.
Correct. It's one of those like it's relatable, but in the worst kind of way, where you're like, "Oh God, I know what you're going through." And
Hmm.
did we mention the taxes? Like that's the
I'm
go ahead.
yeah. Oh no, you go on.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say this all is happening while she's trying to file for like an audit. I think she's being audited, and she's trying to organize all of her expenses. Like, and she has to do this today on top of her dad being here, on top of the party, on top of her daughter, on top of her husband. Like, it's just not going well. She does not need anything more with her life right now.
Hmm. And I think like the camera works really good too. Like
Mm-hmm.
every time something else comes up, it just like swings to the side to like focus on that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just back and forth the whole time. Like it, just watching it kind of stresses you out a bit,
Yeah, you're like, oh, she's fucked. There's no fucking way that she can get through all this.
right?
But she seems to at least be taking it in stride. Like she's just like, I just gotta get through the day. Just gotta get through all this shit, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, you really get the sense that she's been doing this for a long time, so it's like it is what it is. I got it. These are things you gotta do. If you don't do them, they don't get done. That's can't have that, especially when it's the audit. So like your business is at stake and like your whole well-being,
That's a
and
mom
it
mindset right there.
exactly,
You
and
need to get
it's
it done. Yeah.
totally understandable that these other things kind of get pushed to the side. I'll handle it later. This is what's really important right now.
Hmm.
Mhm. So then at this moment, the father Gong Gong comes down, and he's still like in his nightgown, and that old man. And first thing he says, he's like, "Where's breakfast? I'm hungry." And they're like, "How'd you get down here? What's going on?" And so the mom
Did they
decides,
ever
now's the
explain how he
time.
get downstairs?
He
Like,
can walk, just not
oh, okay.
well.
It just threw me off
Yeah,
because he
he's
was
not.
just there. He was just kind of like poof.
Yeah, just shows up there.
Mm.
Guess when you're determined enough, need some food.
I mean, I'll do anything for food.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So Evelyn does a little introduction. She's like, "Hey, this is you remember Joy?" And Gongon's like, yes, of course." And then Joy tries to talk to him. I feel I sh this
He
whole time.
dunks on her. He dunks on her because she's just like trying
Oh
to
yeah.
speak Chinese to him, and he's just like,
Yep.
"You're getting fucking worse at it. What the fuck?" Like,
Yeah.
being just
Yeah,
an
he just says it
ass.
straight up. Your
Yeah.
Chinese gets worse every time I see you.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention Waymond and Evelyn. They kind of alternate the whole time they're talking to each other between English and Chinese.
Mm.
And then Joy, they pretty much never speaks Chinese, which I think is like
Ah.
I think that is the case with plenty of families that live in
Especially,
America.
as I say, especially in American families where like as like the generations move on, like the language kind of gets lost. Not lost per se, but like it's less useful. They think.
Yeah, less of a priority, really.
Mm.
hmm And then yeah, it follows, Gong Gong, older, more traditional guy who still lives in China. He'll be speaking that language.
Hmm.
And this is where a bit of the drama comes in. Joyce trying to explain that Becky is her girlfriend, but she can't remember the word for girlfriend. So Evelyn steps in and just says Becky's her good friend,
Hmm.
and we get reaction right away from Joy. She's very upset about this, really disappointed.
Right, because once again, it feels less like her mom is trying to be open with her, and more like, yeah, it's just a phase. Like,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
hmm.
Uh, I think it's totally expected that will kind of come to a conclusion of like, yeah, she either like isn't nuanced on this topic at all, or she just like hasn't put in any time to think about it, or just like, you know, we've seen this before. But
She doesn't really have time. It seems, even if she had time to
yeah,
like really think about it all, she doesn't have like a free moment because it's kind of made clear that like she doesn't enjoy working the laundromat, but she just still has to run it. It's the only thing that makes
yep.
money.
Well, gotta do what you gotta do.
Yup.
And to really hammer home the point at this moment, she realizes the girl that they were looking for her bag of clothes, she's leaving. So Evelyn, stops the conversation and walks away, and to go hand her an invitation to the New Year's party they're having. And Joy is pissed and just kind of stomps off, and then Becky's just kind of there with Gong Gong, and there's sort of this funny, cute moment where she just says, "It's nice to meet you," and gives him two thumbs up, and then Gong Gong just laughs and gives two thumbs up back, and then after she walks away, he just kind of like rolls his eyes.
Because he doesn't speak very good English, right?
I don't think he speaks it at all.
Yeah. So he's just like fucking English speaking pieces of shit.
Yeah. Um. Yes. Okay, and then to wrap up this scene, after she gets the girl an invitation to the party, Joy and Becky are like getting in their car, and Evelyn stops and it tells her, like, she's like, "Wait, hang on, I have something to say to you." And Joy's like clearly upset, standing there, and then all she says is, "You need to eat healthier. You're getting fat." And Joy's just like shocked, just like outraged, as I think one should be
I
in that
think,
situation.
but I think even what's it? What's the Becky, right? I think
Becky, the girlfriend, yeah.
Becky makes mention even just like, "Hey, I thought you said that whenever your mom says an insult, that means that she cares, right? Isn't that what you said that she says?" So I thought it was going to be setting up the idea of like, oh, every time she says something like that, it just means that she loves you. It's like her way of saying I love you, which is still not healthy, but
Yeah, I don't. She doesn't seem to be like great at communicating
mm-mm.
whatsoever. And then, there is no doubt, like, she definitely loves her daughter and, like, cares about her, and she just wants what's best for her, but she just doesn't realize what she needs to do in this moment.
Wow, there could be a theme that comes back in the rest of the film.
Yeah, it might be.
That might be.
This whole long-winded introduction might be setting up stuff.
What? Can I set up the tax thing? Can I take over?
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
So after all this happened, they're going to go take Gon Gon. I don't want to say Grand. Gon Gon to the IRS because they're being audited and they want to make sure that everything's fine. But they tell Gon Gon, oh, we're just going to get more money because we're going to open up a second location, which is obviously a lie. But he's old. He doesn't fucking realize what's happening. Um, and at this point, they get into the elevator, and the husband, Wayland, does something weird. He like shakes for a moment, and then pulls out an umbrella, hangs it above the camera, and immediately starts talking to the main character. It's just like, look,
Evelyn,
yeah, thank you. I'm all over the place today.
mm,
Evelyn,
it's all
listen,
good.
listen, you bitch. You are going to go right when you leave the elevator into the janitor's closet. Don't go to your thing, go right. And she's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to do my audit. He's like, okay. Then when you go do your audit, do this list of things. And I think he writes, oh, we forgot to mention. Sorry, we forgot to mention. Her husband's trying to get a divorce. He wants to divorce her.
Well,
And
he's
he's.
uh he's carrying around divorce papers,
Mm-hmm,
and he'll kind of explain his motivation in a bit,
mm-hmm,
but essentially because this you know this husband is clearly a different character now. Like,
mm-hmm.
he's talking in a different tone. He's a lot more serious. It's all English, and he takes off the glasses every time.
Yeah,
The,
that's
I
like a
suppose his vision
cue.
is better.
That's a cue for us to know. Okay, like that's how he's different. Like that's a different character now, which they do.
Yep.
Which they do sometimes. I'm trying not to spoil, but I think I just did.
I it'll be what it is.
Mm-hmm. But he's just like, listen, if you're not gonna go, then I just want you to follow these instructions when you get there. And he writes on a piece of paper, or writes on the divorce papers, and then like returns back to the original version of himself, basically. And he's just like, whoa, it's a short elevator. Um, and of course, because she's already dealing with enough shit today, she's like, I'm just gonna go to my IRS thing. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go take care of this. I don't have time for whatever this crazy guy was on about. I don't know what happened there. I'm just gonna move on.
Right.
And obviously, so
He uh
go
he
ahead.
also attached some earpieces to her, and those are important as
Yeah,
well.
thank you. I forgot about that. Yeah, he attaches earpieces, and they start scanning her, and she's very confused. Like, what the fuck are you like? What's happening? What's going on? Um,
Hmm.
I think they're still on her when everything starts happening.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
also
go
they
ahead.
they like scan her brain, and well, it says like, I'm scanning you, and like talks a little bit about like her past. And then at one point, he says like, uh get ready, you're gonna feel like a shock or something. And then we get like she like gets spooked, and then we get like a quick montage of like her whole life, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's born, she's running around
Like,
on a
think of like the core memories of Inside Out, but like all in one moment, basically.
yeah,
She's running
actually
around.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind of just like that.
she's running around. She gets yelled at by her father. She draws a picture of her husband as a kid. He's like, "Hey, let's go to America." Her husband or her and her husband leave. Her father is pissed. I think this is where they showed Joy being born. Joy running around uh, the place or the laundromat, and then I think that's like where it cuts, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much perfect. Only thing worth
Fuck yeah,
mentioning is
ADHD brain. Fuck you, brain.
well done. I think the only other thing is when she's like getting in the car with Wayman to leave, you can hear the dad say like, "If you leave with that silly boy, like you're no longer my daughter."
Mm-hmm.
And she does it anyway though. And also, there's a fun little scene where the Joy is having like an emo phase and her hair is black and she's got makeup on and she like curses at her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's funny.
Yeah, everyone knows that phase.
Absolutely. Let's see. Uh, so yeah, hands her the instructions and like you said, reverts back to normal Waymond. You want to talk about the tax bit?
I'll let you because I know how much you love the character in this.
Oh yeah.
I know how much you love the actress.
I how dare you? I do. I'm a big Jamie Lee
Fucking
Curtis fan.
called it. Jamie Lee Curtis is in this,
Oh my gosh.
bro.
Bro. So Jamie Lee Curtis is our tax rep here. And she's quite unpleasant. She's put on a bit of weight too. I think I read that she put on that weight in real life. She very much wanted this role, from what
Nice.
I understand.
That's awesome. I love
Which
when they do that.
oh yeah, and she does it quite well. So oh, I suppose now's a decent enough time. Pretty much all the actors in this, phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
at all points in time. Special shout out to the actor for Waymond. He played Short Round in Indiana Jones, and he was one of the kids in the Goonies as well.
I
Didn't do
think
anything for like 20 years, and then came back to this.
23 years. It said.
23 years? Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's quite good. He's very emotive, and the way that he switches from the the meek Waymond to the more confident and I guess with a purpose Waymond is very good.
Yeah,
Very, very good.
he's very good. Oh, he's also in X Men. Sorry, he was also in X Men as additional crew.
Ah, there you
So
go.
22 years since his last film.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no,
I guess.
he.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say all the actors do fantastic. It could just be one of those situations. Like I barely recognized as Jamie Lee until like a little bit in. I'm like, oh, I know. Like when she started talking, I realized who she was. Um, but just like all the actors, it kind of like it's one of those things for me where like if a film has good actors that aren't well known, I always enjoy the film more just because I actually feel like they're characters and not just an actor playing a role of a character, you know?
I see what you're saying.
Like that Bullet
Like
Train
it's.
movie, I'm sure Brad Pitt is playing a character, but I can't help but just see Brad Pitt, which sucks because
Hmm.
he's a good actor. Brad Pitt's great.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it I, sometimes actors will have like a type, and
Mm-hmm.
then like um 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 Guardians of the Galaxy guy, Chris Pratt, like he's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the same in almost all his movies. Like he's like bigger, strong guy who's like kind of
Very
bit goofy, a bit awkward.
big cocky at times too. Yeah.
Yeah, like he. he very much has got that personality locked down.
There's another actor I'm trying to think of. He's like he whenever he's in a film, the film makes more money just automatically because he's in it.
Dwayne.
Jason Statham.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's like a very similar case with that. Like some people are just gonna play themselves. Um,
Oh yeah.
but I just yeah, everyone in this did a fantastic job.
Oh yeah. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, Randy
It's very
Newman's
good.
in this.
I can't think of any time when I'm like not really sold by the acting.
Randy Newman's in this. Really? What the hell?
He's the voice of
A character.
the raccoon.
Well,
Hey, I
oh,
I
because
could be talking about Guardians, I
he's a musician. He does mostly musician stuff. That's why his name sound familiar. He wrote a lot. Oh,
oh
he wrote "You've Got a Friend for Me." That's right.
oh
Yeah,
that's really funny then.
yeah. Did he do the music for that movie? He did not. Unfortunate. Anyways, back to he did Cop Rock. Yo! Oh my God, he did Cop Rock, dude. I love Cop Rock. Have you heard about
Yeah,
this? Have you heard about Cop Rock?
I've not.
Oh my God, I heard about it through John Oliver, and then I watched a few episodes on YouTube. The concept of it, it's a musical drama where it's just Law and Order, but a musical.
Oh.
That's it. It's a 45-minute show about cops who sing and like criminals who sing their crimes. There's like the most famous one's the one where John talked about, where it's a 3-minute song about a guy whose whole thing is that he kidnaps babies. Like he's a child kidnapper and he sings about kidnapping children.
Huh.
It's I'm so happy. Oh my God.
That
Okay.
that sounds like fun.
Sorry, that was a different side tangent. Not, I didn't mean to go off of that.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh no, it happens.
Jamie Lee Curtis is like telling Evelyn, be like, "Hey, listen, your expenses are fucking terrible. Like, you can't claim that a karaoke is a business expense." Um,
Oh yeah,
and even
and
says,
she's
"Go ahead."
oh yeah, she's like saying like, oh no, I do singing lessons,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a few other things pop up as well.
The
And
husband
to
starts
be
listening.
fair,
The husband, Wayman, starts listing off like, yeah, she does like 5 other things. Like I think it was a musician. She wanted to be an
oh yeah, she's like
actress. She wanted to
a
be
masseuse
a
also
masseuse,
or
a
something.
chef. I think Jamie
Yeah,
Lee brings up the shit. Like, you want to be a chef. All these things that like clearly our main character could not do. Like
yeah,
Evelyn is unable to do.
yeah.
Oh,
And for what it's worth, I think earlier in the movie, I think there is a poster on the wall of the laundromat that says like singing lessons or something,
mm.
but it doesn't seem too legit.
It feels like
Definitely
a
seems
side
like
job.
fraud.
Like a side
Yeah,
job, yeah. Which, hey, listen, respect the grind,
at
right?
best.
Get the bag,
Absolutely.
get the bag. Respect the grind. I get it.
She's got the grind set.
The mom grind set.
Especially with no time for emotions.
No time for emotions. That's an alpha move.
Absolutely. All right. I guess so. She's not paying as much attention to the conversation as she should, and that's because she's reading the note that Wayman had written down for her, and it says switch it steps switch your shoes so they're on the wrong feet, and she just goes ahead and does that. And then the little earpiece she has lights up green, and then the next step is imagine you're in the janitor closet. Imagine you went there. And then third step is hit the green button and don't forget to breathe. It says at the bottom, PS. So she does that, and then we get a visual of her like getting essentially swept into the janitor closet. And then when she gets in there, there's like a glass fracture, and we can see on the one half of the screen is her talking to the tax lady at the desk, and then the other is her in the janitor closet, and she's like existing in both at the same time.
And at this point, we everyone, if you've watched this for the first time, you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Hmm. And you wanna? This is the first time we get the sort of transitions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like she's looking around and looking at Jamie Lee Curtis, and then like a second, Waymond walks over, grabs her shoulders, and pulls her back, and then it shifts back to the POV of us in the supply closet.
Mm.
You want to talk a little bit about like those transitions?
I think there. Can you pull them up? Because I would love to like walk through them and see like if I can figure out how they did it.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm sure we
absolutely.
can like if we like walk through the scene, I can figure it out. Um,
Well, here's the first one for you.
mm. This is like where like they're split in half, and like both of them are doing two different things. Um, okay, so what they did, I'll. Oh god, I might have to fucking find that clip to see if I can show it on YouTube. Um, what they do is they have a second actor play like in the same outfit as the husband, and then they just have him pull, and then once the transition happens, like, here, you want to play it? Once you see when the transition happens, they instead of like putting her like moving her in one location, it's her in the same spot. They just probably hold a few frames while they like do the glass shattering effect to then go back to this scene.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
It's hard to explain if you're listening, but if you watch what I'm talking about, you can see like the like effect as it happens.
yeah. Pat, do a little bit of editing for us. Put that
No, no, no. I
clip
got it.
in there.
I got it. I can
Oh, you
edit.
got it. Oh,
I
all
can
right, all right.
edit. I know how
Oh
to
no,
edit
it's not.
things.
I'm not doubting you. I just know he's like the editor, an editor. So you know,
Pat,
I wasn't sure how we do business here.
no, Pat is the editor, but he's not my editor.
Ah, okay.
There you go. See, that's the key difference there.
Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. I
Unless
gotcha.
I pay him, probably. I'll have to pay him rent for it.
There you go.
But it's a very cool effect. Point being of all, it's a very cool effect. They do it a lot within the film. Like they have a lot of moments where the character will like have to transition, and she's being pulled back and forth. Apparently, from
Mhm.
what I'm reading, the directors wanted it to seem like she had ADHD, like she kept like not focusing. Which, God, I knew I kind of felt called out by this fucking movie, but I didn't realize it was to that level where the fucking director was just like, yeah, I want to make it seem like this character has like some sort of mental disability, and yeah, they did it. They did it pretty well. That feeling of like having to be somewhere at one moment and then like wanting to think about other things is very frustrating. Oh, well, I can't spoil this yet. Sorry, I'm looking at the actors and actresses like IMDb's. Sorry.
All good.
Um,
I want to say to bolster that point because I didn't think about that too much. I just kind of figured, like normal, excuse me, kind of a normal person. There's a lot going on. You're a bit overwhelmed, with
mhm.
everything happening at once. It makes sense. But I think there's actually a moment earlier, or maybe later, where Gong Gong just says like, always staring off into space or
Yeah,
something.
here it is.
So,
Writer directors Daniel Schur and Daniel Kane. I butchered those fucking names. Originally intended for Evelyn to have undiagnosed ADHD, with Starlight saying it started as almost an insensitive idea. Like, what if the main character was so distractible they could tap into other universes? Subsequently, as Quayne researched the condition, he discovered that he himself had undiagnosed ADHD.
oh,
Yeah, nicely done. Good,
nice.
nice, good to know. I have a coworker who thinks ADHD isn't real. It's fucking great. He thinks that everyone's fucked up in the head, so why should some people get a special condition for it?
Oh,
Which is a weird way, just a weird like
well,
stance.
surely it depends in which way. That's weird.
It's a very weird statement.
I
He's a weird fella.
That's
He has a
weird.
lot of weird takes like that. Don't worry. He's great though. We love him for
We
that.
We'll have a mental health episode sometime where we can get off our controversial takes. It'll be fun.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
We'll do a political stream too. It'll be great.
I'll make sure to invite Sargon of Akkad. Is he still? Is he still a character? Is he still around?
Sargon, yeah, he's still going
Really?
strong. Still
Really?
still saying that liberalism is failing for some reason. It's interesting.
Oh.
I think do you know the Stitch and Adam show?
No, I don't.
I think they had their 200th episode recently, and I think Sargon and Destiny were both on at the same time.
I'm going through Sargon's Twitter or YouTube and his.
I don't think I don't think I've ever been on his YouTube.
1 year ago, he streamed something called "Totally Not Sus Stream," and it's just Among Us figurines.
I love it.
Oh my fucking lick the abs, bigot. He doesn't
What?
upload as much anymore.
I think he does more live streams and stuff.
I guess so.
I would imagine at least.
I'll have to watch one to see if he's improved at all. I don't.
He still is wild.
I don't think he is, but
Yeah. Who knows?
the bisexual Brigadier. Okay, all right. I gotta stop. We gotta talk about the film.
All right.
We gotta talk
Enough
about
of
the
that
film.
rabbit hole.
Sorry. Why do
We're
we bring
feeling
him up?
we're feeling tangential today.
Why do we bring
Oh, we
that up?
talked.
What?
Oh, we were talking about our controversial streams
Right.
on
Anyways,
mental health and whatnot. Anyway,
back to the film.
um,
Yeah, so he basically at this point, while she's being audited and everything, a guy is explaining, "Hey, there is someone who wants you dead. There is someone who
yeah,
wants to kill you." Um,
an
they also
omni-universal being is what they call it.
they also
Very
explain
powerful.
they also explain like when she's not in that moment, like when she's universe hopped, as he explains, um, you go in autopilot. So you just kind of like stand there and nod. You kind of do whatever you need to do in order to keep moving properly, which I think is a good because that's something that they need to explain of how this works.
Absolutely, because
Um, go ahead.
if you're like just repeating all the same actions, like that wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, if she says the thing that he says, because usually that's what happens in these types of things. They are explaining, like they say something to someone, and they go, "No, you can't speak because if you do, then you're going to say what you're thinking out loud." But they don't do that here, which I really like, because that's so overplayed and overdone. Like it's so cliched.
I
Like,
think so.
wow, a character saying a thing that he shouldn't say, and no one calls him a psychopath. Crazy.
Right.
Um,
And also, it yeah, like you said, it's good for continuity. Like
mhm.
characters just autopiloting, because I'm sure we autopilot in our everyday lives,
I do it
and
all the
to a
goddamn
degree,
time.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a good way. Your character's not like awkwardly standing there or like doing some weird thing. It's just totally normal
Hmm.
for the most part, and it would be more difficult to engage with them.
Plus,
And then obviously depending on how focused she is on one particular thing,
plus, like I was
you
gonna
know,
say, it
it,
helps with letting us have a long period of time where this character, who is exactly the same character, I could do it. Don't tell me his name. I can do it. Waymond. It's the other Waymond who explains, "Hey, there's a bitch that's after you. You need to get ready to fight. Uh, you just need to fucking keep yourself. You just gotta get ready." And I think that's about it, right? That's like he's just like, "Hey,
well,
there's someone after you. Get ready to fight."
everything's happening pretty quickly here. So
Would you say it's
it's
happening all at
most
once?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's basically like just act normal, lie low. I'm gonna get everything explained to you, but essentially, and he like explains, I'm not, the husband that I'm from a different universe. He's from the Alpha verse, I think they tell us here.
They call it the
The
Alphaverse,
first
yes.
one to crack the universe uh moving,
Yeah.
transferring. And so we'll be calling him Alpha Waymond to make things easy.
By the way, I love the fact that the entire time Evelyn's just like very busy. Leave me alone. Stop.
She's like, I have no time for this today.
Like she's just like as serious as it gets with these types of characters. She's just like, I don't want anything to do with this shit, you know. My
Mhm.
Gongon's in town. He's gonna fucking murder me.
Right. I got stuff to do, family to please, party to set up. Very busy.
By the way, to give you an idea, if you haven't seen the movie yet, Gongon is dressed. Have you ever taken your dad to go fishing? That's
That's
that.
how he's dressed.
That's how he's dressed. He's like a grandpa you're taking to go fishing. Also, Jamie Lee Curtis is basically at this point. Remember, this is all happening at the same time. This is going back and forth. Like we are watching the movie and it's going back and forth. And Jamie Lee Curtis is basically being like, "You are so fucking bad at doing this. You do. These are so poorly done. I can read your future." Um, and it's very like, and like the husband hops in to like play tag team basically. Wayman's just like, hey, listen, my wife's a little all over the place. It's a mistake. Is there anything we can do while that's happening? I think she gets pulled away, right?
I think so. Um, well, just she keeps kind of going back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh yeah, she also tries to ask the other Wayland like what's gross negligence, but she calls it wrong. Says gross necklaces. Like
yeah, gross negligence.
she's expecting him to help her.
Mm-hmm. And it's a nice little thing is both the Alpha Wayland and the tax rep they both at some point say what could possibly matter more than the conversation we're having right now,
Yeah, both
and you
are like
just
yeah.
you feel the stress, you know.
Mm-hmm. And it's very
It's,
like clear that both characters are trying to like focus, or the character's trying to focus on both these characters, but it's hard. It's so much is happening, and I think like the end of this scene is just that Jamie Lee basically says you have until 6 p.m. tonight to meet with me. You have to 6
mm-hmm.
p.m. to come by. Um, I love the shot by the way they have with like the father and the husband like staring at her from behind because it's like very clear like oh I'm being pressured like all eyes are on me currently. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even notice by the way. Sorry, we're watching the film right now because this film's got a lot going on. When she says I'm thinking, the text is also shattered. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice little touch.
But to give you to like kind of finish the scene off, the Wayland from the Alpha Wayland is being pulled away by someone wearing yellow clothes. The only person we've seen so far wearing yellow
Oh,
is Jamie Lee.
yeah, he says, "Oh, they found us."
Mm-hmm.
And she just punches straight through the solid wooden door that they're in to grab Alpha Wayland.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
at the same time, you know, Wayman from our universe is like, come on, let's try again. Everything's happening still, right?
all at once, yeah.
And yeah, she's not sure if like he's messing things up or like making things worse or what's going on. And also he's getting grabbed in the other universe, and you know, the person who has grabbed Alpha Waymond just snaps his neck.
Mm-hmm. It's fucked up. And pops her
Yeah,
head out, and it's Jamie
it's
Lee Curtis!
yep. She's got a black circle on her forehead.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh. And she just pulls a giant lead pipe off the wall
Mm-hmm.
and smacks her in the face with it. So this Jamie Lee Curtis is very scary,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
very strong.
And we want to point out, this is only 30 minutes into the film. Like, this is all set up for, I think, 30 or 20 minutes in, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, like 20 minutes in.
Yeah, 20,
I
25 to be exact, I think.
I guess we should I think like most of the setup's done at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like core concept being because we kind of get like how the universes work in small chunks, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's probably easiest for us to just try to condense them now so that like everyone understands what's happening here. Um,
Basically, people can universe hop, which if you do a certain action, you can then become programmed to bring that version of yourself into your current universe. That's the concept of the film for like the gimmick of how everything works. Is that about right?
yeah, that's pretty much right. So essentially, the idea is, when you consider infinite universes, obviously, like you have done pretty much everything.
It's the butterfly
So
effect.
yeah, like if every decision spawns a new universe, like all the different places you can be, it's like quite unimaginable. So the idea is you do an odd action, uh, and then like kind of think about where you want to be, and what that odd action does is it like kind of puts you into a nearby universe, like one that's really adjacent. If I woke up at 11 today as opposed to 11:01, like not a big difference, right? So those two are right next to each other.
And then you
And then the
slingshot.
device,
Like the device
yeah,
slingshots you into another universe.
right. And this would be one that's farther away.
Mm-hmm. But
And
towards what
we
you want to
see,
happen to you.
right, exactly. And we see in the Alpha universe, they're like in a van and they've got all these computers set up. Wayman's in like a full VR headset, so that's why it's like so easy for him to talk to her. But he's got these two other people there who are like have all like a map of the universes pulled up on their screen. It looks like the skill tree from Path of Exile. It's just a whole bunch of bubbles. And they
I get that
are
reference.
like excellent.
Yeah.
And they're like constantly like, okay, for example, Wayman needs to be more agile. He's like, what are my options? And they start running through options. Uh, you know, a dancer, chef, s- you know, s- uh,
I think
gymnast.
I
And
think
then
one of
he's
them.
like, okay, I need.
I think the last one he
Uh,
chooses is a boxer or something wrestler.
I was, Jamie Lee turns into like a
Well,
sumo
we should get
wrestler
to
or
that.
something.
We should get into that. So now at this point, like Evelyn and Wayland are found by this great evil, which I'm not even gonna fucking attempt to pronounce, unless you want to.
Uh, Joji Chupake.
Joji Tupake,
I think so.
Joji Chewbacca.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the
Joji
jokes.
Joji Chewbacca is this great evil, and they were found. He was found. Alpha Universe Wayland was found in this universe, and now her henchmen are basically coming here to kill that's Evelyn. Um,
Yeah.
and so, with that in mind, another version of Jamie Lee Curtis appears. Oh yeah, they have a talk about the divorce, and then Jamie's walking to them, and immediately Evelyn's just like, "Okay, it's time to fight. I'm ready to fight," and just punches Jamie Lee in the face.
Yeah.
uh,
She's like, you told me I would know when it's time to fight.
because she's still not fully aware that it's not her husband. Or that it's her husband she's talked to. She still thinks it's the other universe version of her husband.
Well, there's a silly mix-up because he holds up the divorce papers and he's like, "Oh, this is why you're so, you know, uh, distracted, like sidetracked." And she's like, "You know about this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I know about this." But he's like, he sees the side that says the divorce papers, and she sees the side that has been written on that says "Switch your shoes." Imagine you're in the closet. So she thinks she's talking to Alpha. It's a whole mix up. It's a
I
bit it's a bit convenient to be honest with you, but
I
I
keep
it's
thinking
pretty important for the rest of the movie, so
I,
we allow.
I keep thinking about the fucking R. Kelly "Trapped in the Closet" song every time I hear those words, just because like I listened to it the other day. Oh my fucking god, what a miserable rap song! I don't know. Have you ever heard it?
I have.
What is it? what is it? Like it's so bad. He's being arrested right now, so
Nonsense.
I can shit all over him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's just it's such like every time I hear trapped in the closet, I'm just like trapped in the closet. I got a gun. Like I just fucking I can't think about anything else. Sorry. Um, yeah, they
All
have a
good.
mix up, and then I think Jamie Lee runs up. She punches her, um, and then now they're wanted, and that's when we get the first verse jump, where Waylon learns how to be a fucking karate master, and just starts beating the shit out of the guards.
Yeah, so some security guys come up.
Mm.
Um, Alpha Wayland takes the headpiece off of Evelyn. Uh, he pulls some chapstick out of his fanny pack
Mm-hmm.
and he eats it. And then when he hits the buttons, he like does a little, you know,
Which, by the way,
the
is the
some
small, subtle thing that's different. I guess is that he ate chapstick in one universe.
yeah, and that's the weird thing. That's
Mm-hmm.
what like allows you to get
Which
slingshotted.
don't play it again, Pat or James. Don't play it again, please. For the love of God, do not play it
What?
again.
What? You don't want to see him eat it again?
I don't want to see him eat it again. No.
Oh, okay.
But the cool thing, and this, I think James said that he didn't see this in the first theater. When he puts his head back and like opens that up again, the camera or the camera thing changes from like a
The
full screen.
resolution.
The resolution changed to a 16:9 because
Hmm.
now it's action time.
Yep.
And he uses a fanny pack that's been wrapped around him the entire time to start beating the shit out of the guards with the fucking fanny pack. It's
Which I
a
think is not, it's very fun, obviously, but there's some bit of symbolism there in the sense that Wayman is like this awkward, like friendly, gentle guy, and then like he becomes badass. And
Mhm.
it's like the same thing with the fanny pack. It's like you know the stigma surrounding fanny packs, but then it just becomes this weapon that he absolutely wrecks these security guards with.
I think it's a very well. It's also like Asian like fighting and Asian um like movies have
Oh,
always been like over the top with its action.
this has Jackie Chan written all over it.
Yeah, it's very Jackie Chan esque or like Way of the Hidden Dragon. Like none of this makes sense in like terms of fighting experience or anything. But it's so over the top. Like he's pulling out rocks to put in his fanny pack to make it more lethal. How does
Yeah,
that
he
even
grabs
make
rocks
any?
out of a fish tank to make it heavier.
Yeah, which is so
and the
stupid, but it's so
and
funny.
it's got this little plush pig attached to it as well. That's
Yeah,
just there the whole time.
it's so silly and so. Oh yeah, there's also like a little moment where one of the actors says, "Oh no, Craig, fuck," because he beat the shit out of Craig, and the music stops for like him to finish the line, like it's part of the music, which I always love in films where like the music like syncs up like that. It's such a nice moment.
I like it too. It like feels really satisfying, like
Mm-hmm.
rewarding to hear.
Yeah, and of course, immediately after all this, he's like, "Come with me, come with me. I'm not that Wayland. Come on, let's move. You either come with me or you die here." And she's just like, "Okay, I'll die."
He picks her up and carries her away.
Mm-hmm. And I think now we can
All
start
right.
skipping towards everything. This is like where now like Jamie Lee Curtis is like now a wrestler who's now trying to fight one of the characters. Um, and we don't see who Juju whatever is yet. We know they exist, but we
Well,
don't know who they are.
yeah, they've got their face covered.
Mm.
She comes in and like kills the other Evelyn in the closet universe. And there's a scene I really like here where the Jojo Jipake is like, this isn't them, but maybe they're close. And she like holds up her hand and twists and like tilts her head, and she's shifting through universes as she like ticks her head to the side.
Mm.
And while she's doing this, the resolution of the screen keeps changing as well.
Oh yeah, it
But
does. That's weird.
hmm and when she does this, we see two characters at a bar, and one of them's Becky. And on the news on the TV, it says like, "Oh, there's an attack at the tax building," and then the other character who's hooded stands up and leaves, and it's Joy. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see what that leads to.
I I
Let's see.
bet only good things.
Pretty much. Um, as we keep going, more explanations on how the multiverses work.
Does this movie explain it better than uh, Multiverse of Madness?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Multiverse of Madness doesn't do anything with its multiverses.
Really?
Not really. Like there's a couple scenes, like there's one where they're in like a paint universe and that's kind of fun. But it's like it's just for like a half a second. They don't really like play with the concept much at all. And this movie has a blast with it, and we'll talk about some of the multiverses that we visit like on or frequently.
Mm.
But yeah,
Well,
absolute
so
delight.
we'll talk about this because I feel like this is the part where we're just going to start talking about the middle of the movie rather than like. I don't want to talk too much about the plot because the plot is super good and super intriguing. But we want to talk about some stuff in like spoiler talk. I want to right now just talk about like how you know which universe you're in, obviously by like the slight differences and obviously the characters being different, but also the way it's shot. Like the camera work for different locations are very unique. I think one of the best examples. It's very small, but there's one I think where she needs a verse jump and she verse jumps into a universe where she's a movie actor, right?
hmm
uh,
This is also her kung fu universe.
yeah, she becomes a kung fu martial artist, um, and she also is an actress and that becomes very important later on, but the way that it's shot is very different, like when they showed that universe. Are you trying to find it?
I was hoping to, yeah.
I think it's it's
Here we
here.
go.
It's right here. Yeah,
Yeah.
like she goes through like multiple doors and like traveling.
Oh yeah, similar to when she like got swept into the closet, she gets swept way far away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the
Also,
resolution changes.
the resolution changes when it's a when it's a backstory thing.
hmm
When they like show how her storyline changes. Um,
Yeah, so instead of going with Waymond to uh that scene makes me laugh every time.
it's very funny.
Instead of going with Waymond to America, she stays and she gets robbed and she gets saved by a kung fu master, a lady with white hair, and it's just funny to me
It's a
because
very
she
funny
shows up and
punch.
like does a stance. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
she is
But yeah,
very proud.
she becomes kung fu master, and from there gets signed on to do movies.
Hmm. What the main difference with this universe and the other ones is the fact that like it's a lot more green in this universe. Like there's more green tones. Um, like, there's an emphasis on
Hmm.
that color.
Like the Matrix.
Yeah. And when we return back to our universe, it's like she starts beating the shit out of Jamie Lee with her newfound kung fu powers. But
Yeah.
later on, that's like much more pushed into. Um, Another great example, I think, even like the well, I can't talk about that universe yet. But the
Well, it
what?
is just to end the conversation on the jumping. Once you get launched into another universe, you kind of like see what happened, see the difference, and because it's like you filling those shoes for a second. and you acquire like skills that they have temporarily.
Hmm.
But so she jumps to the kung fu universe, and now she's got that ability. She can do that now.
And she's able to summon it when she needs to as well. Which they kind of like helps us with the autopilot thing again because she's still trying to use those abilities, and sometimes she'll like hop back into that universe and she'll do something in that universe when she doesn't mean to. But most of the time, she's like on autopilot within those universes,
Yeah.
which I think is very neat. I think it's a very cool way of doing things.
Yeah, it's nice because we get to, she now has a huge array of powers that she can tap into, given, enough time to figure out how to. And what's also cool about it is she gets to kind of explore her life in different universes where different decisions were made.
Because she's
And a
talking
lot
to
of,
her husband about the divorce, and she mentions in this one, like, this is the one where she left him. Where she's like, no, I don't want to go with you. And I'm so much happier. Which, by the way, dick move, by the way, for her to be like, to her
yeah,
actual husband. She's like, yeah, I just checked out another
I, s-
universe where,
I
like,
saw my life without you, and
yeah,
it was amazing. I shouldn't have gone with you. And it's like, wow,
yeah, what the fuck?
that's rude.
And this guy still loves her? Virgin ass. Virgin ass.
No, Chad.
I don't care if he has. I don't care if he has a daughter with her. She's virgin.
She's having a she's having a bad day. She'll redeem herself.
I think
Or will
she will.
she?
I don't know. We'll see. You have to watch the
Oh
movie,
my
fuckers.
gosh, watch the movie.
Unironically, to watch it because I think this
Yeah,
would get
this
into spoiler. I think this is when the big plot point is revealed, right?
um
I can't remember when they
yeah,
bring
a
up.
little bit after this.
Yeah, about Jobu. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we should also establish they set up a rule. You're not allowed to, or you can't like go and like try to live in one of the other universes, and you can't like take on too many at a time because it'll make you go insane or like make your head pop,
Mm-hmm. Which is what
essentially.
happened to Juju.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so I guess if we're getting into more spoilerish talk, you want to share the fun fact about some of these scenes?
Hmm. Oh yeah, during the actor scene, they show footage of the actual actresses at the red carpet for certain events. Uh, so they have footage of the Crazy Rich Asians event where she was at. Um, are you talking about with something else? Did I miss something?
No. That's the one.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's one of those things where I noticed me like, oh, this is different footage entirely, but it's a nice detail.
Yeah, it's a cool little touch because she's in that movie as well, so they already have footage of red carpet events that she's at, so they just use it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Um, yeah. So I guess we calling it spoiler talk from here on.
Yeah, I'll put a thing up saying, "Hey, here's where you click if you want to hear the number review."
Sounds good. All right.
Do the twist, James.
A big twist. The daughter is the villain. The Juju Tupake
What?
is Joy. Whoa. And we see right away she's very powerful. Like she changes like her outfits and her makeup like just on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
Like just she essentially can just manipulate matter, it would seem,
She's
without
a.
any concern, any like real effort.
Mm-hmm. She also is singing a lot.
She's very quirky.
She's very quirky.
It's because nothing matters.
Yeah, she's a very like. So when the movie when this was introduced, my brain immediately was just like, okay, so the plot's going to be the mom thinks that everything matters, um, Like I kind of knew where the thing was going from here. Um, Not to say that it's like common to do, but a lot of times in films, it's always like someone thinks nothing matters, and someone's always going to think, "Hey, it's those little moments that matter," you know.
Yeah.
Um, I just didn't expect for the other twist, which we'll talk about by the end. Um, but like the daughter literally is just like nothing matters. I'm just gonna kill you all with no problem. Um, and eventually she's just like she gets to where it's just her and her mother, and she introduces the bagel, um, which is a bagel with everything in it, as in literally everything's in the bagel.
Yep. And it I guess it sort of like gives like uh black hole imagery to a degree.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense because that's kind of like what she made the bagel for. Um, and it's it's just very. Oh yeah, this is when they introduced the hot dog dimension too, which isn't important,
Yeah.
but it kind of is.
It's very important.
Where it's a universe where everyone's fingers are hot dogs, and there's a scene where a monkey beats the shit out of another monkey, and the monkey with the human hands loses. So that's why,
Yeah.
which implies that in
They
our universe there's a monkey with hot dog fingers that lost to a human hand.
Yeah, they're basically just like large inflatable like fingers that are super flimsy or like flimsy and like don't have any structure, so they just kind of flop around. But yeah, I love that. I just think that's super funny that they were like, oh, we're gonna do, wacky universes. Go. Okay, they have hot dogs for fingers, and that's like probably as far as most movies would go. But the writers were like, no, no, no. We need to explain why this has happened. So there's like
A dedicated
10,000,
flashback.
100, yeah, 10 million BC flashback. And it's these monkeys fighting, and they're like in these crappy monkey Halloween costumes.
We're
And
talking
yeah,
like
there's like,
Party City, like Party Sitter
they look
themed monkeys.
awful.
Yeah,
It's so
but
funny. And
it's
yeah, the
so
one with
endearing.
and yeah, the one with the hot dog fingers just like beats down this monkey, and then all the other monkeys with hot dog fingers like hold their hands up and wave them in the air, and yeah, the camera pans down and you see the bloodied hand of the monkey, and it looks like a normal hand for the
Yeah,
most part. So yeah, that's just
it's a
really funny to
normal
me.
hand covered in fucking blood.
Yeah,
And by the way, that's the only time they do that for a universe. They never do it for anywhere else.
yeah,
They never
I-
have a backstory of why that. Well, kind of, but they don't have like that type of backstory. Because usually the backstory is around Evelyn, about like her personal life. It's never like, oh yeah, it's Evelyn, but she's the same character, but with hot dog fingers.
yeah. Well, they explain there because she like just does something random
Uh-huh.
and hits the button this time. So like without really like any control or really thinking about where she's going, like just hits it.
What does
So
she?
it slingshots her
What does she do?
way. I think she pees herself.
That's right. She pees herself.
Yeah. And right before Wayman said, "Try peeing yourself. That's always a good jump pad." And that's funny because that is something you wouldn't do normally, I think. So that's just,
Yeah.
why not? Makes sense. It's like, yeah, okay.
Wait, you don't
But
pee yourself?
not regularly, no.
Oh, okay. I just yeah. All right. Well, yeah.
I don't think you're really meant to anymore.
No, yeah. I don't. I don't. No, no.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as we. Yeah.
I mean, you could, but I'm not your
No,
boss.
no. I don't. I know. I would never.
Okay, 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 good.
It's such a
But
stupid fucking joke.
but yeah, this I think the reason they show the whole flashback is because this universe is so far away. Like
Mhm.
it's not just a few decisions that moved here. It was, way off.
I think they even
And
make mention like this universe is like on the outskirts or something like they have a line like
yeah,
that.
like she's off the grid or something. Yeah.
Mhm.
And in this universe, she's in the laundromat watching the same opera with the two people dancing. except they have the hot dog hands, and then someone comes over to like give her a hug from behind, except it's not Waymond, it's Daedra, who's Jamie Lee Curtis's character. And they freak out. And, well, Evelyn freaks out when she sees all the hot dog hands. And then we're done with that universe
Mhm.
for a little bit, but we'll get back into it.
And it,
Uh,
it brings up the point of like, um, sometimes it will just go do random thing. Oh, yeah, here's the scene you're talking about with the monkeys.
it's so funny.
Um, Sometimes they'll jump to universes that like have no real use to them. And yeah, this is when she mentions the bagel, which this is the one
Yeah.
thing I wanted to point out in the spoiler talk.
Okay.
I picked up on this pretty quickly, but I didn't want to mention it until like I thought it was a thing. Um, the bagel is supposed to be the antithesis of the googly eye.
Mm-hmm.
Like the bagel is pure black with a white dot within it, while the googly eye
Mm-hmm.
is a pure white with a black dot within it. And while the bagel can't move, the googly eye just goes wherever it wants. The concept of it is that it can see all like of the good in people, which is a lot like what our main male lead does. He sees the good in people. The the bagel just doesn't. It just consumes,
Exactly.
much like what you would do with a bagel.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
just a small thing.
yeah, no, I like it. And this is also when we get like the motivation for um Joy. It's she understands that like, well, she realizes, I guess I should say, that nothing really matters. Um, since she was like pushed in backstory, the Alpha universe, she got pushed so hard to like be able to visit the other universes that she just kind of realized eventually that if there are just like infinite universes and anything can happen and like everything essentially has happened, then like what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very nihilistic view for my philosophy friends out there of the world.
It's the view of if
And,
nothing matters, why try?
exactly. And that's essentially what she's going with the whole time.
Mm. And
So,
she thinks that if she can not consume if she could be consumed by the bagel, she would be free of her pain.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she says she wonders if like she can die, like if she went into the bagel, like would that just be it? Would she be able to cease existing?
But that's just so. This always bothers me in these types of plot because then um, that means that she exists within every universe, which also means that her mother has to exist within every universe, which also means that um, her grandpa has to exist. Like you know what I'm saying? Like the bloodline has to exist in each universe. Um,
Well, it's only the universes that they're in.
that is true. They even I think Gongon makes mention at one point. He's just like, "Hey, I want you to kill her so she doesn't have another body to jump to." Um,
Yeah, it's one less
mm-hmm,
universe that she can use.
mm-hmm.
And she's like, it's just procedure.
What is it? I want to say. I'm sorry, I'm being told about the new Mario Kart DLC and how it's okay, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Leave me alone. Um,
Glad to hear it.
yeah. I had something I was gonna bring up, motherfucker.
You can keep thinking about it. I can find something else to talk about.
No, it's the joy is just basically just like I want to stop suffering. I want to stop feeling pain all the time. Um, and Evelyn's like, no, I could fix her. I could fix her. I could make things better. And I think that's when Gongon's like, no, this is not the right one. We need to kill her.
Yeah, so essentially, there's an Alpha Gong Gong as well, and he visits uh their universe, and like he's all there, he's all put together, and essentially he's taken the viewpoint. Um, Joy is like ruining the universes that she's in. 'Cause, like she's destroying them, like killing people in them, like causing chaos, and she needs to be dealt with essentially.
Yeah.
And he is sticking to this principle pretty hardcore the whole time. And it's like minimizing loss idea, which again, understandable, you know.
Mhm.
And the one line I really like, there's a scene, essentially Gong Gong like interrupts Joy while she's trying to seemingly kill Evelyn. We're not super clear, but that's like what is meant to be conveyed.
Mhm.
And then uh Joy, or I guess Jojo Tupake, goes to the Alpha verse to try to stop Alpha Wayland from like helping. And that's when we lose Wayland and Jojo Tupake for a minute, and then we're back to our normal Wayland and Joy. And so she tries explaining everything to them, and it doesn't go well. And she tries explaining to Joy that like I understand that you hurt, but it's gonna be okay, and like you gotta try to like get rid of these negative emotions, and
She's like,
I I'm gonna
she's
I'm gonna
basically
help you.
trying to pin all of her daughter's problems on Juju, which like I get the symbolism. Supposed to be like, oh, parents are always trying to find another excuse for why their kids behave a certain way, and they never want to blame it on themselves. Because
I think so.
Juju only got this way because of how much she originally pushed, and she doesn't like. I don't think Evelyn realizes that when she's talking. She's just like, oh, okay, she's just pure evil. Something must have happened. It couldn't have been my fault. Um,
Yeah,
and it's just one of those things where like, I can get the symbolism of a mom who needs to take responsibility for doing the same thing her father did to her.
exactly. And in this whole process, um, well, I guess I want to say she probably like feels like that hard life probably made her a bit stronger. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if it's ever said, but you got to push the people you care about at least somewhat, so that they can strive.
It's a
But
difficult discussion because
I
as
guess,
two people with no
well, it's a
kids,
balancing act, right?
as two people with no kids and have only ever experienced life through, our own parents and what they try to do, I could say my parents definitely tried to push me, um, and I don't know if that was for the best or not, but I do think that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
I don't know how your mom raised you, but it's one of those weird situations.
I assume we were pushed for pretty similar goals,
Mm-hmm. And we clearly succeeded, right?
some of which we nailed.
Yeah, sometimes we did it. Other times
Yeah,
we
we're Eagle Scouts. That was pretty good.
yeah, we got one.
Yeah, that's a dub.
That's
We'll take it.
we'll take it. But it's like I get where the film is going
Parenting
with
might
it.
be complicated, guys.
Yeah, that's why neither of us
Sorry.
are going to do it. We're neither of us are good. The bloodline ends here for both of us.
Hmm. So we're gonna stick to talking about films instead because I think they might be a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly. This one's hard, but
Exactly. This one's. I'll be honest with everybody. This one's a big one. It's I don't I'm getting a little bit of imposter syndrome while trying to work my way through this,
we are
but
currently an hour and 30 minutes into the podcast. So
we're
I'm trying to keep it under 2 hours if we can, but oh boy,
we I think we can.
yeah.
I guess let's have a little bit of fun with it.
Hmm.
You want to talk about a few of the extra universes we go through and some of their payoffs?
Yeah, so at this point, Gon like has a gun and like threatens to kill everyone. And then they go inside. What she finds out there is a sex room in here in the room that they're currently hiding in. Um, and Gon has now summoned like everyone that he can from the Alpha universe into this universe. Um, so they are
Yep,
currently
everybody nearby.
yeah. So so they are currently inside a sex dungeon that's in this office space. But this is in the IRS. I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like that shouldn't be allowed. But it's also a very funny scene, so I'll allow it.
I gotta get out there. The guy who's like he's in the other universe where she's the maid and he's getting BDSM'd, as it were.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he shows up later as well. He's actually one of the directors.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Lucky bastard.
apparently he just really wanted to get, spanked by whatever Evelyn's name is in real life.
Yeah. Daniel Schneid, right?
I'm
Daniel
sorry?
Schneid? Is that it?
One of the Daniels.
Yeah. Well, there's only one Daniel, so
What? They're both direct. There's two. What?
there's Dan and there's Daniel.
They're called the Daniels.
Or
It
whatever.
even said it on during the credits.
By the way, Michelle Yeoh is the actress's
Michelle
name.
Yeoh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Um, but Michelle, God damn it, James, Evelyn,
Evelyn.
takes one of the sex toys, which I think she took like, I gotta pretend like I don't know what it is, so I can save face. Um,
There's like it seems to be a sort of a stick, and there's feathers at the end.
it's for sensation play.
I was gonna say I don't know what this
So
thing
allow
is.
me to explain.
Oh,
I spent a lot
plus
of
you
time.
can turn it on and it spins.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like to like stimulate your body. Some people are like much more sensitive, um, and it's one of those things that like some people are into. You know?
I gotcha. Blindfold you, put headphones on you, and now you're.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even need headphones. Like
Gotcha.
the blindfold would be enough sometimes because you don't see it coming. You can hear it, but you don't know when it's going to hit.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So she puts that against her nose and like tickles her nose, and that gives
Hmm.
her a universe where she becomes a musician, where she becomes a singer, which is one of the
Oh,
things that she wanted to be.
yeah. She gets two here
Mm.
actually.
Oh, two?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
So
right, right,
they
right, yeah.
they launched tear gas in here. I want to explain this because it's one of my favorite set pieces. I love how this is handled.
Oh, same.
They launched tear gas into the room, and so she's like, okay, got to deal with the tear gas and got to be able to fight him. So she still got kung fu mode on. So the two universes she goes to, one, it plays the scene of her running as a child, but when she's told to stop running, she doesn't, and she trips and falls on like these two metal stakes that are on the ground.
Uh, uh.
And yeah, gross thought, but she's blind, and uh, she essentially becomes Daredevil with this. She can't see, but she's, still kung fu mode, and she's very aware of her surroundings. And that's good because tear gas in the eyes, she can keep her eyes closed the whole time. It's perfect. And then, like you said, the other universe, singer, benefits that come with singing. I think on the
I
phone that
thought
she
this
has,
was the
it
same
says
universe.
it. Yeah, her eyes are closed. It
Yeah,
might be.
that's the same universe.
Ah.
No stage fright. Proud fa- Oh my god, I'm looking at the fucking thing, and one of the things
Yeah.
she gets is a
We
proud
get a
father.
we get a list of attributes that she acquired, and it's like, improved awareness, improved lung capacity, and one of the things is proud father.
That's why she's
That's
able to
funny.
survive in the tear gas because she has like the improved like lung capacity.
Exactly. She's got her eyes closed. She can still fight, and she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't need to breathe.
Mm-hmm. Basically. And
Yep.
it's very well because like in this universe where the fights happen, it's very dark. But during the musical universe, you can see her like it's a very bright. She's on stage. It's very colorful.
Hmm.
I think the music also
Yeah, there's
changes too.
a a good contrast. Yeah, and I think the music is used.
Yep, the music's very
Yeah.
like slow and methodical. Did you just mute it?
Hmm. And the fight scenes being I did, and the
Thank you.
fight scenes being taken in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want it for the clip?
No, it's fine. I don't have it
Okay.
recorded, so it's
I
not gonna
just
appear
I don't
here.
want to get struck with something.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair. Um,
Yeah.
Overall, it's a
And
very good. Oh yeah, the other one that she goes into, she does go into two because she also goes into one where I think she swallows a frog.
yeah, she has to like really force it down.
Yeah, and she jumps, and what happens is she becomes a like a sign flipper basically, like even more of a
The
dead end job.
Yeah, the people on the side of the road with the signs that they're spinning and twirling around.
Hmm.
She's that, and one of the guys has uh, a riot shield,
Hmm.
and so she gets it from him, and then she Captain America's pretty much the whole time,
And there's a really
and
well
it's
done shot that I love to death where it's like all of them hit her shield at once. And like she has a shield on her back. It's such a well done shot. This film is so
yeah,
well done.
the choreography is really good,
Hmm.
pretty much the whole time. There's a few things you can pick
Goofy.
out, like characters like not taking swings when they're in position to, like kind of waiting for their cues, but I only noticed it like once or twice, and there's a lot of action scenes in this, so
Hmm. And all of them
not
are very well done.
bad.
I would argue. I think they're well done.
I think I think so.
Some are like ridiculous. Like, there's one,
Especially the like goofy attitude we're taking. This movie's very funny, by the
yeah.
way.
Like this, the fight scene that happens right after that one is a woman with a dog that she's using to beat the shit out of her. Like she uses a dog to
Yeah,
beat
she's
this.
using it like a morning star,
Yeah.
just swinging it around.
Now it's a fake dog, luckily, but
No, real Pomeranian. She's like
it's
swinging it above her head. It's super
it's
funny.
it's one of those things where I think I mentioned it during a review when I was watching through Airbud. It just hurts to see a dog be injured in a film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it just sucks.
I don't I don't know how people do it.
No,
Like
I don't know how you have
I
the
could
heart to
never.
do that. Be like, oh, we're
Yeah,
just gonna kill this dog and then replace it with a new dog. Like, what the fuck? Wait, can you go back? I want to see how they did the cut with the dog switching. Like, she kicks the dog and it's a continuous shot. Did they just
yeah, because
replace
it
the
looks
dog?
like a real dog while it's on the ground.
That's what I'm thinking. It's probably like a CGI cut, right? You want to
Probably.
pause at the kick?
I I don't think I can nail it, but I'll try.
Try your best, James. I believe in you. Okay, yeah, that's the
Yeah,
moment
that's
that
pretty CG.
yeah, the moment that it's kicked, you can see like, but it you wouldn't notice it when you're watching it in like at home or anything. It's
Oh,
so like efficient.
I remember thinking the first time I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that looks pretty good."
Yeah, it looks very good.
All right, we need to talk about the raccoon joke.
Do you want to talk about the Oh, we didn't set that up. You want to set that up right now?
Yeah, let's set it up real quick.
Go
When
for it.
she's trying to explain to Waymond and Joy about the different universes, she like explains that like when the alpha people come in, they control their bodies like puppets. And the way that she decides to draw that analogy is by referencing a movie. She can't think of the movie though. It's the one with the chef and the animal, the raccoon is under his hat and controlling him with the hair. And she says it's called Raccoony. And they're like, you mean Ratatouille? And she's like, no, no, I'm sure it's Raccoony.
So I'm sure it's
And
Rakakuni.
yeah, and they're like losing their minds. It's a good joke. Anyway,
I'm
one of the
upset. I am
universes.
upset that Randy
You're
Newman.
upset?
I'm upset that Randy Newman, who is in almost every other Pixar film, like they could have like, it could have been the guy who was the musician of Ratatouille, and that would have been great. But no, instead he just did Cop Rock.
I'm so sorry.
He also did Cars.
Well, there you go.
Oh, he did Monsters Inc. What did he not do? What the fuck? He did Toy Story, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc. Yeah, he did like all the big things for Pixar.
I
Anyways, go ahead.
I want to point out real quick. I'm looking at the IMDb for like the big bearded guy. He's like my wife wore that same perfume
Oh
because
my
I was
god.
like this guy surely doesn't have a lot of film credits. So he's in a ton of films and I would like to oh he's in Santa Claus in a couple TV series.
He's in
But
iCarly.
he's in iCarly. I would just like to let you know some of the roles he plays. Krusty, hobo, Hollywood hobo, homeless man, trucker, drunk, homeless man, cab driver.
My favorite
I
I
mean,
saw was the Duke.
the Duke.
The Duke.
Oh, he's a milkman in Moonlighting. That's a long time ago.
Wow.
But
Bill
yeah,
Whiff.
this guy's got a typecast as well, it would seem.
Yeah, Bill. Shout out to
Oh,
Bill Whiff if you're watching. Did a great job.
he's he's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He plays Tito, who is just a guy in prison, and every time his only voice lines are saying, "I do a lot of meth."
Oh, Just Roll with It. He's in Just Roll with It. Oh, not the Just Roll with It I thought it was. Damn it. There's a Just Roll with It that's like a D&D campaign. That's what I thought this was. No, this was like, oh my gosh,
Ah,
it's just a shitty Disney show.
damn.
What he's in? Oh, he's in the promotional material.
Yeah.
Unless he's just some other fat bald guy with white hair. It could just be that.
Wow.
It could just be another. I could just be racist.
There's always that chance.
It's always that chance.
There's always a non-zero chance of racism.
Yeah.
But I suppose to conclude our our Rakukuni joke, one of the other universes, she's a hibachi chef,
Mm-hmm.
and she messes up and like accidentally throws an egg at the lady while throwing an egg-shaped object at the dog mom in our universe. Anyway, at the manager comes over and he's like, if you keep messing up, I'm going to give more of your shifts to Chad. And Chad is hot man over there doing great work. And he like gives a wink to Evelyn, but you can see out of the back of his hat, there's like there's something there. It looks like a raccoon tail. And then proceed to be, she catches him with a
What's
raccoon on his head, cooking in the back. What's up?
what's even more like interesting is that when you first see it, you can assume it might just be like a ponytail. Like it's such a quick shot, it could just be a ponytail. Which a guy
Yeah,
named Chad with a ponytail is already as base as fuck. But then like once
of
the
course.
reveal happens that it's an actual raccoon, you're like, oh my god, that's fucking hilarious.
Indeed.
Hmm.
So I guess yeah, she finds out that he's got the raccoon essentially doing what Ratatouille did.
Hmm.
And the raccoon's like, she knows too much, get her, and like tries to direct Chad to kill her.
Yeah.
It's
Also, that's another big difference that the raccoon can talk in this one, where they're like, "You're my best friend. I love you so much." It's just like it's literally like a Pixar movie.
yeah, it's good
It's
stuff. And
it's very funny.
it's like a really bad raccoon puppet too, which I think helps.
All the visual effects are like the practical ones are either really well done or so bad that it's like it flips back around to being fantastic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Both this and I think there's one later that we talk about, but there's like one where there are rocks and it's very dumb but very funny.
Hmm.
Uh,
I guess we should
mhm.
I don't know.
I
You
was gonna
wanna
skip ahead to that point because that's kind of like
as
everything from this point is a fight scene.
yeah, pretty much. More great
Mm-hmm.
fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess we'll you know what? We're not even gonna tell you about the phallic trophies. You gotta watch
No,
the movie for
you.
that payoff.
Yeah, that's a payoff you have to see the movie for.
Yep, we're shilling this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Uh, so do you want to talk about like the main arc, and then we can kind of go through each of the universes because I think that's more fun, and like
If you want to talk about
talk about how the arc
universes,
was done in those.
you can talk about the universes. I'm gonna. Um, okay.
I don't really want to try to like set them all up and then pay them all off. I'd rather like go over like the underlying argument, I guess, against nihilism, and then
Yeah, I
or
could
like the
talk
theme.
about her like whole. I'm like trying to find it all. I talk about Joy's whole like argument because at this point Joy has been back to her normal self up until they finally have the moment with both the daughter. I think the there's a scene where the daughter is ready to fight or not the daughter. Jesus, brain is all over the place. Evelyn is ready to fight her daughter, and she's about ready to fight, but then she just straight up pukes and dies, and that's the end in another universe where like the movie ends in that universe. and that's the that's the actress universe, where she kind of like hops into that body and starts talking with her husband, who she isn't married to in this universe.
It,
Wayman
she left
like
him.
yeah, Wayman basically goes like, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me," and she's like, "Oh yeah, of course I remember you." Um, and Wayman has this like whole speech based on how like I'm not a fighter, but I love. I That's how I fight. I fight by giving everyone everything I can. And it's this scene is what makes this guy to me, K Hugh Kwan, a phenomenal actor. He gives off like that energy of like a man who has been broken and like just is trying his best. He's like smoking a cigarette, he's leaning, he's got like everything that's like got this like right tone to it, you know? I honestly think it's one of the best
Absolutely.
scenes of his acting. And the fact that he's both that character, like I feel like they're not the same character, which is what they want to do in this scene. Um,
Right. Well, they're
sorry,
successful, you know.
yeah. Back to Joy. So Joy's whole thing is that she doesn't want to accept nihilism fully unless she can convince someone else, and she's trying to convince Evelyn that nothing matters, that it's all worthless, that it's all going to end one day. Um, and Evelyn almost agrees with her. But little do we know that while this is all happening, another universe of herself that we hop in briefly is still worried about the taxes, is still worried about making ends meet, and still worried about like how is she going to make it through the end of this party, which is like something that we consider like this is not important anymore. This is the least important story you could be talking about at this exact moment. But this version of Evelyn is still focused on this one thing. And the Evelyn that's like gone through all these universes has realized like this is a nothing. This doesn't matter. Like she's convinced at this point. I don't remember when do they bring up the rocks.
Um, After she kind of lets loose and does a
Mm.
bunch of bad things.
Evelyn does a bunch of bad things. She in the hot dog universe, she like pushes away Jamie Lee. She signs the divorce papers in the universe where they're talking over where she's talking over like the audit and everything. Um, like she's just letting loose basically, and she's starting to realize. I think in the actor universe, she kisses the guy, and he's like, I don't want this again. I don't want you to lead me on. And she only really realizes like how foolish her daughter's way of thinking is when her husband gives a speech. This speech is the one I was talking about, but the original universe one, like the one where he's trying to stop everyone from fighting, he even just is like, I think she stabs him with like some glass, and all the while he's just like, I don't see why we need to fight. I get it. Nothing makes sense anymore, and you're all fighting because you're scared. It's not how we're supposed to do it, though. This is not how it goes. You're supposed to love each other. And that kind of like opens her mind of like, yeah, everything sucks, but it only sucks if you want it to. It's the little moments of love and appreciation that really matter. And this whole scene was like one that really made me fucking tear up. Because like I said, I kind of had a hunch that's where it was going to go, but I didn't expect the husband to be the one to like bring this up. Like he was the one who's just like, this nihilism doesn't work. It just will never work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all.
Mm.
I agree with it totally. Um,
I didn't touch too much on the universe hopping. I like the rock one, but I wanted to more focus on just like how she kind of defeats her daughter's way of thought.
yeah, no, that's like more of the underlining theme, I'd say. And yeah, like you said, the lines that really stick out to me are when he's like, being kind to everybody. That's how I fight because I've been on this world like, as many days as you.
Mm.
I know how terrible it is and like how bad it can be. But this is it's what you gotta do. This is how I handle it. This is how I get through it. It's how I cope essentially.
Copium, yeah.
And I yeah, for real. And, that really optimistic take on things and like trying to keep everything nice and light. Like, I think there's a lot to be respected in that.
Agreed.
Uh,
It's
okay, go ahead.
no, no. Go ahead. Sorry, I was just agreeing with you.
Uh, yeah, that's about it. Um, I guess something we didn't hit on too much earlier, while she was still trying to get the hang of the universe jumping. Um, Waymond explains that like he doesn't want to get a divorce, but like she doesn't listen, and like she only listens if it's an emergency. So he needs to kind of make it an emergency, cause and like their friend from church or something, like he brought up the idea of divorce to his wife, and it got them talking, and then like things got better after that because they were miserable, but then like they finally started communicating with each other and really understanding each other. And I think he's going for the same thing here. Like he doesn't want a divorce, but the papers make it seem so real, so it's like a system, a
It's a
means
scare
to an end.
tactic.
In a way.
Yeah. It's like, hey,
Scare,
we need to
scare
talk.
tactic kind of has negative connotations, but essentially,
We need to talk,
yeah.
and this is the only way it can get you to listen.
hmm So when she like starts kind of accepting the nihilistic view of things, and she signs it, he's like devastated because like this isn't, this is not at all what I wanted,
No,
right?
no. He didn't expect her to sign it. He expected her to talk.
hmm And I think it's also worth pointing out when like the divorce papers are first revealed to us, right after that they go to the tax place, and while they're walking in, there's this other Asian couple that's much older, and they like kiss each other and then move along, and he kind of like stares at it for a minute, and it's like, oh, I see what he like clearly wants, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
He
like
wants to be happy.
the nice, long,
Get
peaceful, happy life with the person you love.
get out of here being happy. Get the fuck out of here.
And the line that like really does it is in the movie star universe, where he's like, wealthy, well off, and she's a movie star. He says, I would have been totally happy just doing taxes with you and like owning a laundromat or something along those lines. And it's like, wow,
I think the line is
that's good stuff.
I think the line is maybe in another timeline I would have loved to have done taxes and laundry with you.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And it's a very powerfully delivered. And it's also like I hate to be that guy, but the language of the Asian culture just has so much impact to it as well. Like the way that he takes moments to break, to breathe, to kind of like emphasize what he's trying to say.
Oh, like the deliveries
Can you wait?
is kind of what you're saying.
Well, you missed it. I was going to ask you to go back to the taxes because I also just realized another thing too. The one paper she has been carrying the entire time for when she's doing her taxes is one where it's a white paper with a black circle on it, and she doesn't
Yep.
know where it belongs. I just realized that too. Son of a bitch.
Yep. Yep.
All very good.
Good catch. Very good.
I love shit like that.
I'm gonna have a hard time finding it again, but
It's fine.
yes, indeed. um, so to kind of carry on with like what I guess I would call like the core universe, the main universe, essentially how that all wraps up is, when like she's like giving it to the nihilism, sorta. That's when she signs the papers. She gets a call from Jamie Lee Curtis, and she essentially just says, "Screw you, not coming in." And then Jamie Lee Curtis shows up with the police, and she's like, "We gotta seize your assets, cause like tax evasion and whatnot." And like she's already signed the divorce papers, and she takes a bat and breaks the window on the laundromat, and kind of gets arrested. And it's like everything's are going wrong in all the other universes too. And that's when she shifts into the Rock. And you want to talk about the Rock universe?
James, what made you think I want to talk about the Rock universe?
I think you mentioned it.
I really liked it. It's a very funny because like so far the concept has all been like they've all been human, and this one they're like, oh, this is a universe where nothing can live, and it kind of answers my questions. Oh, there it is.
Hmm.
It kind of answered my question I had a while back of like, that means they always have to exist somehow, and apparently they want to do more inanimate object universes like this one. Apparently there's one where she was a noodle and she had a son who wanted to be thrown at the wall to see if it was ready to be cooked or if they were done being cooked. Um, but apparently they wanted to do more inanimate object universes, and I think this one's the best because it's like there's nothing that you can do as a rock. Realistically, there's nothing you can do. When you are a rock, you are unable to do anything. And they even show that by having like text appear on the screen to explain how they are talking to each other. Um, and it's shot very like wide shot. Um, Everything is kind of like how do I explain it? No, yeah, just wide shot. And at some point, um, when she realizes, oh, nothing doesn't mean just because I know everything doesn't mean everything is worthless. Um, so Evelyn like puts googly eyes on her rock, and her daughter's like, you can't do that here. You're not supposed to be able to do that. She's like, but nothing matters. I can do whatever. Like she kind of like tries to show her daughter through this universe that you know if nothing matters, then everything is possible. Which I think is a very cute little message and kind of like the crux of the story.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Um,
I'll let you have the hot dog
and
universe.
oh, great. um, yeah, the nerd in me appreciates that. In the Rock universe, when they're talking to each other, Joy says, this is a universe where the conditions weren't quite right to make life. Actually, most of them are like this, to be honest. And
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, that follows. Actually,
And if
most of them would be like that.
if there's infinite possibilities, then some of them will have nothing to show for it.
Exactly. Especially when you consider, like, in real life, how we, you know, haven't found any signs of alien life yet. We have found, like, billions of planets. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's things seem to have worked out for us pretty well.
we did pretty well for ourselves.
Yeah, we've done all right. Um, so I guess, yeah, you're right about like that kind of being the main arc. So in the other universes, for example, during the nihilism phase, uh, hibachi chef Evelyn tells people about Rakakuni, and animal control comes and gets Rakakuni. But then, after her change of view, thanks to Waymond, she decides that she's gonna work with Chad and save Rakakuni, and it's again pretty funny because it's played dramatically. Chad's like, I'm useless alone. I need him. And she's like, you are kind of useless alone, but luckily we're not alone. And she gets on his shoulders and like controls him through his hair, and they go and chase him down.
This
They
is
end up
all.
switching at one point.
This is
Oh, go
all
ahead.
happening, by the way, while they're trying to stop. While the Alpha universe is trying to stop um, Evelyn from reaching Joy, who's currently walking towards the bagel.
Right,
So,
because Gong Gong is fine with Joy, essentially killing herself because she is like the dangerous being,
mm,
but Evelyn's not going to give up on her daughter that easily.
mm-hmm.
And there's a nice scene where Gong Gong, Alpha Gong Gong, stops Evelyn from trying to save her Joy.
Mm.
And Evelyn says, "How could you let me go so easily? I'm not doing what to my daughter what you did to me." And that's like big.
And that's another important thing just about parenting too. It's hard. You try not to do what your previous family has done to you, and sometimes you end up doubling down. That's one of like the big things about like I love bringing this up. Lisa talks about that a lot. Oh, there's the line. You just had it.
I know.
That's embarrassing. Anyways, Lisa's all about like how previous families' behaviors can mess with the next generations. Like, not to get into it, but like Brad treated Buddy like a child, like never you could never leave the home, which is the same thing his father did to him and his sister. Like, you are to never leave. You are to like stay here and take care of me. And like
Hmm.
it just kind of what happens. Like, families end up repeating their mistakes, and it's unfortunate. And at some point, she lets her go. She does let her go. She's like, "This is what if this is what you want. If this makes my daughter happy, then I'll let you go."
Yeah, she like in the primary universe, the Joy has a whole spiel about how, I'm glad you're finding yourself, but you know, you're not really happy with me. I'm not that happy with you. Like we kind of just cause each other pain, so just let me go. Just don't, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Evelyn's okay with it, and then she thinks about it and she says, "No, um, not doing that." She's like, "Yeah, we are kind of miserable together, and like we don't always make each other happy, but I love you, and like that matters more, and I'm not letting you go."
It's very sweet.
Very sweet, indeed. And yeah, they're Joy gives the line, "You could be anyone, anywhere," and then why not go somewhere where your daughter's more than just me?
Mm.
And
I think
what's the line?
Evelyn says like, it doesn't matter because I will enjoy all the happy moments.
Yeah, and that is a big part of the overall theme of this. Um, sort of the it. Granted, we've seen it before, but I think it's very, very well illustrated here. Um, you know, focus more on what you have rather than what you don't have, because what you have matters a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Which is agreed.
And
It's
those
one of
things
those.
are, yeah, it's just that stuff's a lot more meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to hit on the hot dog universe, um, after Evelyn pushes Jamie Lee Curtis away, I guess that's sort of hard to follow exactly what's happening there, but like they kind of get back together and do the dance some more, and they make each other happy. Oh, the significance largely is in the normal universe, uh they're not seizing the property. She's giving her an extra week, and the reason is because Wayman told uh Jamie Lee Curtis about the divorce, and she mentioned earlier that she has an ex-husband, and she is like, "I understand. Like, that's rough. It's terrible. When I was served divorce papers, I drove my husband's car through my neighbor's house." And she's like, "It's, just we're just like cold and unlovable." And that's Evelyn's opportunity to say, "You're not unlovable. There's always something to love." And
Mm-hmm.
then, we get to see in the hot dog universe where they're together and they do love each other.
And they play with their feet. Like, they use their feet for a lot of hand stuff.
Yeah, she's like, "In a world where we have hot dogs for hands, we get really good with our feet." And it's done with like these very obviously like almost like a sock puppet, but designed to look like feet. They're like playing piano and stuff. And there's a scene where she goes to wipe a tear away from her face, but she uses a foot to do it, and it's just Jamie Lee Curtis on screen crying, and then a foot just comes up.
I hope she got paid well for this.
I hope they all did.
Yeah.
And
The, oh yeah, the raccoon gets thrown, or not the raccoon, the guy with
oh
the raccoon.
yeah,
He
she
gets
throws
thrown.
Chad
Yeah.
so he can catch.
It's like
And
supposed
yeah,
to be
it
all those sweet, wonderful moments. Like, this is like the scene that kind of like defeats nihilism in a sense of like, yeah, there's going to be moments where things are going to be miserable, but sometimes there's sweet moments.
Exactly.
There's small sweet moments.
And it goes through the different universes being resolved in, the way we would like to see them resolved.
Mm.
And the last thing in this montage is like a moon colliding with a planet.
I think
And I
that's
like that a lot.
it's supposed to be a reference to Star Trek: The Next Generation, apparently,
Oh, is it?
because apparently I think it was Michelle Yeoh played a character in that show. Let me double check the trivia because I remember reading about it. Do, 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 do.
Oh. Well, I guess in a symbolic manner. I appreciate how that's like two planets colliding. That's like huge, like on a like way bigger than any of us. And it's like, do you kind of see what I'm saying?
I get you.
Like just a massive uh change relative to like the size of us or like the things that happen in our lives, but it's just integrated in there because like this is all very meaningful for them, especially.
Uh, the scene that showed the origin of the universe where people have hot dog fingers is a reference to the famous Dawn of Man opening Act 1 from Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey.
Ah, I'm
Uh,
not seeing Michelle in Star Trek. Oh, she's in Star Trek Discovery.
that's the one I was talking about. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the thing on trivia, but I remember reading it, and now I can't find it. But that's supposed to be like a whole thing.
She also is going to be in all of the next Avatar movies.
Oh,
Two, three, four,
nice.
and five.
Well, oh, not the, not the
The blue
bad,
people.
yeah, the blue people. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Whew, got worried for a minute.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Thank you. You got me scared for
And
a minute.
yeah. And I want to say you usually talk about music. I have something to say about music.
Go for it. I want to
After
hear it.
after the montage, our Evelyn and Joy go and hug each other, and there's like big dramatic music playing with the montage as everybody is as all the stories are being concluded. And then as soon as it goes back to just um the two of them in the parking lot together in the main universe, the music just cuts and there's nothing.
Mm.
And I think I music is obviously used to help like influence the mood.
Mm.
I really like that the directors didn't feel the need to put any music in here.
Well, it's also because like realistically, this is the universe that has the least amount of stuff happening, right? Like this is the one where it's
Yeah.
the most simple. Like every other universe, like there's a big climactic finish. This is just the end of a day.
Yeah.
This is just them realizing like, hey, we still work here. Like this is the least crazy of the different universes. And so having the
Yeah.
music not be there kind of emphasizes that point of like, oh, they're going to be going back to being just normal people after it all,
Exactly.
which is very nice. I agree. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
And I think that cuts to the last part, which is them going back and getting everything kind of organized better. Um, and it's implied by the end um, that like she can still hear and be part of the other universe. I also like how you can now see the googly eyes are still flying or are still on the laundry up top because she's kind of
Yeah.
accepted that. Um, and then
They're they're over here too on
yeah,
the thermostat.
they're everywhere.
All at once.
Oh, and then the
Oh,
gays
and there's a
kiss.
sweet little payoff where Evelyn says, "Becky, you need to grow out your hair some more."
Mm-hmm.
And Becky's like, look at that.
Look, she likes me. Wow,
She likes me. Yeah.
she really likes me.
And the whole family goes in to
Mm.
wrap up the taxes. There's a sweet moment between Wayman and Evelyn similar to the one that we saw before. And yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis says everything's better, but it's not perfect. We still have a couple issues here.
Hmm.
And
Which obviously is symbolic of the family.
right, and of course, and the mom's kind of you know
Sure.
staring off into space, and then and there's music playing, background noise, and then it all stops, and Jamie Lee Curtis is like, "Hey, are you listening?" And she's like, "I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?" And then it ends.
Yeah. A very, very good end. And you know what? I just got asked the other day what my favorite movie was. And I think this might be on the list.
Yeah, when I watched it with girlfriend, I think she's now saying that this is her favorite.
It's definitely up there. Like it's definitely like my like gonna be my go to action movie. Just because I think the action is very good and I just so happen to also have a very fun story. And I think this movie might get uh lot of mileage out of seeing it more than once. I might even make
Yeah, it rewards a second viewing big time.
Pat see it, just to torture him, just to spite him.
Just to spite him.
Mm-hmm.
Watching this isn't torture.
That is true. That is true. I just like wasting his time.
I gotcha.
No, but I
Um,
think overall the film is just very well put together, very well executed, and I definitely enjoyed it. Like I had a hunch I was going to enjoy it, so like when I came in and enjoyed it, I'm like, oh yeah, no shit.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Uh,
I wasn't really sure what to think, but then yeah, I started hearing people that I like recommend it, and I was like, okay, well, I expect it to be like fun, and well, it's a lot of fun. I expect it to just be fun.
mhm.
This we didn't we talked about a few of the jokes, but we didn't talk too much about the comedy, like as a whole. It's not it's not like jarring transitions between like serious moments and comedic moments. It's blended together very, very well.
Correct. And
Maybe the best I've seen. Think of like Jojo Rabbit. Like,
everything pays off super well, even the comedy,
mm-hmm.
which is very unique in a film. Like I'm not saying most of the time what happens with a film, um, what happens most of the time with films like this is like they will set up a joke and then the next line will be the delivery. This one has several things they set up that you won't expect to be a joke, and then the delivery happens and you're like, wow, that was fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said,
Absolutely.
there's probably a bunch of other little comical moments that we don't realize until we watch it on second view. Like I think there's like a whole scene where like they get turned into pinatas and like you think that's gonna be a one off and then they go back to it. Like it's stuff like that where like little things like that are super enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think we're good to
yeah.
talk about our numbers. Would you agree?
Oh, I think so. I didn't come up with anything witty for this one.
I'm gonna
Mm.
go with as many googly eyes that are in this movie
Think of it like
out of
everything.
12. You give it an everything,
Everything.
everything out of
Bagel.
everything big. Don't do that. That's dangerous.
Oh, is that bad? Okay.
That's
Just
bad.
everything out of everywhere. I
That's
don't
good.
fucking
I
know.
like that. I like
I,
that a lot. That's a
all
good one. That's
right,
a
all
good
right.
one.
We're going with it.
We're going with an everything.
Love it a lot. Give it a watch.
I was actually going to come on here with a fun little review game if I didn't have all this other shit happen this week, where it was going to be. I was going to ask you if it's going to be good or not. Like, that was going to be the concept of it. I would just give you the title, and you just have to guess if it was good or not. But I'm glad we didn't do that. I'm glad we did this instead. I feel like the game would get better.
Like the title of a movie,
Yeah, I would just tell you like a title, and then you would decide if it's gonna be good, and then I'll give you like the synopsis.
okay, that could be fun.
That would be very fun, but that could be another time. Because I think next we're going to be talking about the Jurassic World series, right?
Oh boy, yeah, I still need to see that movie, the new
Yeah,
one.
we can watch. I think we could watch the films over the month and then talk about them when the month
Yeah.
is over. So get ready for
Yeah, sounds good.
get ready for another triple three review, but it probably won't be as long as they usually are.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about Spider-Man apparently.
Yeah, we both do.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
with that, James, you want to do an outro, or do you want me to do it?
Nah, you can handle the outro.
Uh, all right. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe.
Thanks for watching.
Tell us what your favorite universe
You
was,
guys
because
are the
there's a
real
lot.
heroes.
No, I'm being legit. Like, there's a lot of good universes that we didn't really talk upon. And if you have a favorite one, feel free to leave it down below.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
And tell us if we missed anything.
We probably did. This movie's
We
big.
know. This is a chonker.
Yeah. So until next guy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Until next time. Bye-bye.